What's up, you guys? John here, and welcome to episode number 18 of Inside the Solo. Today's episode is on a song called Dear Prudence by the Beatles. We're going to learn this awesome finger-picking pattern that goes throughout the entire tune. Let's check it out. So there's our intro, and this has got some cool triad shapes. I'm going to break it down for you. I'll start with the shapes, and then I'll show you the finger picking pattern. One thing I want you to note before we get into this, I am in drop D. So I've tuned that low string down a whole step to, I usually just tune it to the 4th string there, and you're good to go. So let's check out this first shape. It's a D6 chord, way up high. And I'm going to be using these isolated tracks that I have to just get as detailed as we possibly can so I can show it to you note for note. So you're going to put your 3rd finger on the 12th or on the 14th fret of the G string, and then your 1st finger on the 12th fret of the B string, and your 4th finger on the 14th fret of the E string, the high E. That's your D6 chord. Then you're going to move this chord 2 frets down. So now I should be on 12, 10, and 12. It's like a C6 now. Then we move to a D triad. Again, all these chords are just on these top 3 strings, strings 1 through 3 that you're fretting. So put your 2nd finger on 11 on the G string, and then lay your 1st finger flat and cover 10 and 10 on the B and the E strings. Then drop that down a whole step. So you're now at a C triad, you're on 9, 8, 8. And then switch over to this shape, which is 7, 8, 7. 1st finger on the 7th fret of the G string, 3rd finger on the 8th fret of the B string, and 2nd finger on the 7th fret of the high E. This looks like a D chord, just good old D, but we're up at the 7th fret, so it's actually a G chord there. Then we're going to go to this shape that we used for the 10th fret for this, or for the D and the C chord, but we're going to put it with our 1st finger on the 5th fret. This is an A chord, so I've got my 2nd finger on the 6th fret of the G string, 1st finger laying flat, covering the B and the E strings. Then we're going to move to this C triad here, which is 2nd finger on the 5th fret of the G string, and 3rd finger on the 5th fret of the B string, and 1st finger on the 3rd fret of the E string. This chord is going to go twice. And then we'll go to a D chord. But I'm using a little different fingering for this chord. I'm putting my 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the B string, and then bar with your 1st finger to play the high E string at the 2nd fret. So most people play D like this. If you play it that way, just take this finger off and do the bar. And when we get into the verse progression, you're going to see why we're playing it this way, but that's what I would recommend. Okay, so since we're on that chord, now that you've got all these descending chords, I'll just show you one more time. D6, C6, D, C, G, A, C, and then D. Okay, so you've got those shapes. Now we're going to put the motor behind it, which is this picking pattern. And John Lennon really had some cool picking patterns in a lot of tunes. Like Julia is another cool one where he did finger picking on. And so this is Dear Prudence. So we're going to start. It's really just a two beat figure that I'm going to put my thumb on the A string and put my middle finger on the high E string. Pinch those two together like this. Then bring your thumb down and play the D string, and with your index finger play the G string. So you've got, okay, that's the first part. Then play the low D string, the 6th string, the one that we tuned down, and then use your middle finger to play the B string, and then back with your thumb to the D string. So you've got this. Okay, 1 E and a, 2 E and a. And that's your pattern. Now I'm really only using these 3 fingers, my thumb, my index, and my middle. Sometimes I'll play this with a thumb pick, by the way. But you can get a cool, folksy kind of sound with just the fingers, of course. So now that we've got this picking hand doing that pattern, and we got our fretting hand doing the shapes, let's try it together. So we're going to start with that high D6 chord, and we're going to put it together. Here we go. Ready, go. Move it down. Then we do this chord twice, 2 patterns there, and then you move to D. Okay, so it's one of those patterns on each chord, except for when you get to this C, you're going to do that twice. And then move to the progression of the verse. So one more time. 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2. Such a cool pattern. And then D. Okay, let's try that with the song. Check it out. So it's faster, but you can hear it lines up, note for note. Okay, now we get into this part. Let's see if I can go to this part. So this is like your typical Beatles descending chord progression, where they're holding a chord and then the bass walks down. Beatles did this all the time. It's really cool. Okay, so what that is we've got, remember we got that weird fingering, right, for this unusual fingering for the D chord. The reason is we're going to be keeping our middle finger free, so we're going to do the pattern once on this D chord. And then we're going to put that 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the A string. See that? So this is like a D chord. This is a D over C. Then we do the D shape with the B in the bass. So what happens there is this finger comes up and goes on the 2nd fret of the high E string. So 2nd finger, 2nd fret, high E. 3rd finger stays where it is, should be on the 3rd fret of the B string. And our bass keeps walking down. Before it was at the 3rd fret, now it's at the 2nd fret with the note B. So this is going to be the A string, 2nd fret. Same pattern again. And then, so we got D, D over C, then a B in the bass, and then move your 1st finger down again. And so now I'm playing the A string, 1st fret with my 1st finger, and these 2 fingers stayed from the previous chord, which should be 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the E, and 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the B. So, see that there? So all together, D, walk the bass, walk the bass, walk the bass, start again. And this continues. Try playing along. Just jump in. Dear Prudence. So this repeats over and over. Sun is up, sky is blue, it's beautiful, it's so Now, we have one other part we gotta learn here. Okay, so that's where our chords change, and they basically go to a C to a G over B. Let's see. Yeah, so we've got this C chord here, and this is gonna be your third finger on the third fret of the A string, second finger on the second fret of the D string, open G, and then first finger on the first fret of the B string, open E. Same pattern. Well, this time, we don't play the low E, so we're gonna just adjust the pattern a little bit. See that? Yep. Then we go to a G over B. And this chord actually sounds like the third is in there open. So it'd be just this sort of folk voicing, second finger on the second fret of the A string, and then you could do your pinky on the fourth, or your fourth finger on the third fret of the E string, and then start again. So you've got C, then back to that descending chord progression. So that's it for those two parts. Then it goes again. The only other part that we have to learn is the bridge, and that's the look around, round. It sounds like this. You can hear this electric guitar comes in. So what's going on there is, you know, you go, won't you come, C, G over B, D. Okay, and then we launch into this. Look around, round, round. So what that is the same D chord, and then you're gonna use your second finger and you're gonna put it on the fourth fret of the G string, and your first finger lays flat and covers the B and the E strings on the third fret. Same pattern, right, as we were doing before for the verse. Now switch to G, and then take that same chord and move it up 2 frets. Again, triads like what we had in the intro. This is gonna be 6, 5, 5. Then back to G, so it's like D, G, A, G. But this low string keeps droning underneath, so it's like a D chord with a G over D, an A over D, G over D. That goes through the bridge. Now check this out. It's actually one of my favorite parts of the tune is right there, that tension. Listen to this. So what that is you're on this same shape, right? This triad, but this time you move it to the first fret. So my first finger's on the first fret, second finger on the second fret of the G string, and then doing that little bar there. So that's the first chord. Then you bring it up 3 frets. So this is like an F chord, or it could be a D minor 7 with the D in the bass. And then you move it up 3 frets, move it down 1 fret, and then resolve to D. So it's this real kind of dissonant tension, and then it resolves. Listen. So here it is. Tension, and resolution. Back to this descending chord progression. I'm telling you, this is a brilliant, brilliant guitar part. Then that's it. That goes all the way out. Now at the end, you go back to this. So it goes full circle there, and it goes back to the intro for the outro, all the way up to that D6 chord, which is another staple of the Beatles, is they love the 6 chord. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm staying up super late filming it after I've been working all day learning other songs for other gigs. So I hope that you get something out of this. Be sure to subscribe and hit the thumbs up button so I can keep making more videos for you guys. And let me know comments below what your favorite part of this song is or what you're working on, and we can talk about it. I'll get back to you in the comments. All right, we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.